Hi, I'm Elisa, the Pinterest product specialist at Tailwind, and today we're going to be talking about what is working on Pinterest today in 2021. We have done quite a few data studies that can show which pins are getting the most saves, which means they're getting the most distribution, and what we can learn from the pins that are working today. So why this conversation? Well, we hear you. We hear what you're saying in Facebook groups. We see your messages to customer success, and we understand. What we're hearing a lot of are comments about Pinterest changing everything, about not getting traffic or not getting as much traffic as you used to, or maybe it looks like your Tailwind pins aren't getting the impressions that other pins are getting, or maybe even feel like Pinterest just hates me. True, we have heard all of these things for a long time now, but increasing lately. So then the question is, what is actually happening? Is something changing? The answer is most definitely yes. So what is it? Well, Pinterest is not shy about telling us what they want, which is wonderful. They want something fresh and new. So this is a video from a series they put out, which really spells that out. We have 4 million people looking for something green. Let's just play that. Very clear. We want green, but we don't need any more succulents. So they're very clear about the fact that they want something new and interesting. That's what users want. The other thing going on is a change in mission. So this is from the Creators Festival in December 2020, and Evan Sharp talks about what is changing.
And we've worked hard and aspired to build a positive place online. A place where people can go to open themselves up to new possibilities for their life, to discover inspiration and ideas, whether it's for the everyday things, maybe for some big moments in life, and then everything in between. And ultimately, everything on Pinterest is about taking action. It's about getting offline, taking these possibilities you've discovered and doing them, and building a life you really, really love. We've mostly done this by helping people connect with what inspires them, with ideas. And we've decided this year it's time to push that mission of inspiration even further, to connect all of our users with people who inspire them. And that's you, that's our creators.
Okay, so what's different about this? It was all about the ideas, and now it's going to be also about you, the creator. So how do we make this work for us? It is definitely a change. We wanted to look at, all right, what's going on right now? What types of content are getting the most saves on Pinterest? We looked at saves because it's a good indication that people are engaging with this content, and it's kind of a proxy for how far your content will go on Pinterest. We looked at over 20 million pins in February and March of 2021 sent via all methods. So that was via Pinterest, Pinterest scheduling, Tailwind, etc. It was only for Pinterest Tailwind, like paid Tailwind users, so that we know that these people are marketers and they're investing in their marketing. What we wanted to know is what types of pins are Tailwind members posting, which are best for saves. Does your follower count matter as far as what kinds of content you should be posting or what could be most successful? The answer on that one is surprisingly yes. And how can marketers improve our performance based on these findings? Just a quick note here that an image create, that is a pin that's the first time your image has been saved on Pinterest. When we talk about a save, that's what we used to call a repin. So the second time, third time, 50th time a pin is saved to Pinterest, it is a save. What are people sharing? 95% of what paid Tailwind users are sharing are static images. 4% video, 1% story. And I'd love to be able to see if that's surprising to you. Looking at static pin performance, Image creates, like that first time your pin goes out, they don't perform as well as videos or stories in terms of saves. Videos will get 8 times more saves, stories get 41 times more saves. However, we know that static pins are kind of that bedrock of how we get traffic to our website. We also notice that when people save a static image again, right, or that save or repin, that can also result in saves or more distribution for your pins. Looking at video pin performance, so 8 times more saves compared to a static image pin. And we also noticed that saves of video pins did quite well. So creates and saves both performing pretty well. Story pins is where we get into a whole different level of performance, with 41 times more saves compared to static image pins. Now we did notice that saves of story pins, sending that story pin out again or someone else saving it, just doesn't result in a lot more distribution, which makes sense. So when you create a beautiful story pin, which is all about you, your product or idea, Pinterest wants to connect pinners to you as the creator. So then when I save it to my board because I want to go do it later, Pinterest isn't as interested in distributing my version of that pin. They really want most of the activity to happen when you save that pin. So that's a good thing for creators. We also wanted to look at the elements of individual pins that kind of predict how well they're going to do as far as saves. So something we noticed looking at hundreds of pins that were shared November through January of 2021, which all had at least 5,000 saves on them by the end of January. 89% of them had some kind of combination of comments, photos, or reactions on them. Of course, reactions are only for video and story pins. 90% of those with 5,000 saves or repins on them were creates. So that very first time the image goes out, they weren't repins or saves. 30% were videos. And they were all videos that actually showed how to do something. So rather than just automate or animating an element to catch attention, the video part of it actually added value to that pin. Quite a few of those were repurposed from TikTok, which is interesting. We'll get into that in a minute. So recommendations, make more story pins. So many creators are a little resistant to story pins because they don't allow you to add a link. And we know that Pinterest has been a traffic driver for a long time, and we don't want to let go of that. However, we have to think about what Pinterest wants and what Pinterest users want. And it is evident that Pinterest wants story pins and users are engaging with them. So think about it as a way to get something else other than direct traffic. They can help you attract a growing engaged audience, right? So someone who sees your story pin, and story pins are getting a lot of distribution, is more likely to see your other content that does have a link. Story pins seem to be especially engaging for accounts that have over 10,000 followers. So if that's you, double down on the story pins. You can also, or may soon be able to, if you can't right this moment, tag relevant businesses in your story pins. So if I'm making this wonderful looking lemonade over here, maybe this is a special straw and I can tag the manufacturer of that straw or the creator of that straw. And maybe they're going to offer me an influencer deal. That would be cool. Some updates on story pins. So evidently, up until March 17th, Pinterest would show story pins regardless of the engagement they were getting. And now there is an engagement-based system for determining the distribution of your story pins. So when people advance from panel to panel, they click to see your pin, they add a reaction, etc. That is going to tell Pinterest, hey, this is a great pin, we should give it more distribution. What you don't want to do is add a link in your description. So we talked about the fact that story pins do not allow links on the pin themselves. And if you add it in your description, that could actually hurt your distribution because Pinterest can see that. The idea of a story pin is to give all the information needed to complete this activity or to build this thing right in your story pin and then get them to follow you on Pinterest. They also mentioned that sharing video directly from other sites, TikTok is the one that comes to mind, right? It has that big watermark on it, could hinder your distribution. So they probably can still be repurposed. You just want to make sure you remove that watermark. When it comes to creating a great story pin, you do want to use video early and often. And try to draw people in with that first panel, which should be, if at all possible, a video. Use more than one panel. Again, that gives people more opportunity to engage, to advance through those panels, and show how to do something start to finish that doesn't require people to visit your website. And your last panel, that's your opportunity to encourage people to follow you. We also want to make more video pins. So there are nearly 1 billion video views per day on Pinterest. You can drive substantial amount of website traffic with videos. And if you have an account with fewer than 10,000 followers, this type of content, this video content on Pinterest, is especially engaging. Some updates on video pins. Searches for video in keyword search have increased 28%, which means people are actually searching specifically for video content on Pinterest. People are creating more video content, and of course, people are watching an awful lot of video on Pinterest. Another thing you can do is create new static images, right? So they get fewer saves, but they still do bring in quite a bit of traffic. The best thing you can do, right? So thinking about what Pinterest wants, what they've told us they want us to do, is to create fresh and exciting content that has never been seen before. Now, when you have that fresh content, you can create more than one image for that piece of content. It can help you to appeal to a broader audience with different tastes and different needs, or in a different context. The second best thing you can do is to create new images for existing content. And again, making sure that each image is different and that it's appealing to a different audience and hopefully appearing in new searches on Pinterest. If you want some real clear ideas on how to do that, this bit.ly link, Pinterest-formula, will really lay it out for you. Here is the formula. It's your piece of content plus a context of either an everyday moment, a seasonal event, or other interest equals a new way to present your content on Pinterest. It makes it very easy. Another thing you want to do, which seems like a very odd, out of the blue kind of task, is to claim your website. In February 2021, we looked at 2 million accounts who were pinning in November and January. We looked at those who had an average engagement rate that was higher than the rest for both of those months. And we noticed that 80% of them had claimed their domain on Pinterest. Now, when we looked at that same time period, we looked at underperformers, only 3% of them had claimed their websites. And some people have reported that they've claimed their website and then somehow it got unclaimed. You just want to double check, make sure it's still claimed. And the reason why is because of this. So Megan saved this pin to Cozy Corner, her board. However, this is a pin from the Happy Hideout. Because they have claimed their website, they get this byline, they get the follow button. We want that follow button because when people are interested in our content and they follow us, they are likely to continue to engage with our content. And that is what Pinterest wants to see to help them decide how far to distribute your content. We also want to diversify. So going back to that thought of things are always changing, I'm not getting the traffic I'm used to, we know we need to diversify. Pinterest is amazing. I know we're all fans. And it can be really great for growing awareness, right? Remembering that 97% of searches on Pinterest are unbranded. It's an astounding opportunity to get in front of people who haven't ever heard of you before. can also bring in quite a bit of website traffic. Now, when you pair that with Instagram, where you can grow that know, like, and trust factor, you can increase your direct sales. Pair all of that with Facebook, where you connect with your community. And then, of course, the crown jewel is your own website, the thing that you always own, where the rules don't change so much. You can get them onto your email list and make a sale from there. So when you work all of these together, it becomes a much more well-rounded marketing strategy. Oh, I know this one. I kind of wondered, should I put this one in? Well, yeah, consider advertising. So yes, we can get free Pinterest traffic. We love free traffic from Pinterest. But if you want more, or if you want it really fast, you might want to pay for it, and it doesn't have to be expensive. The returns on Pinterest advertising can be quite substantial. And as Pinterest is pointing out here, 2.3x more efficient cost for conversion than ads on social. So if you've been advertising on Facebook for a while and you're seeing those prices go up and up, which I'm sure you are, you may want to try Pinterest. What about Tailwind? How does Tailwind fit into all this? Is Tailwind hurting my Pinterest performance? Is this another thing that's making it harder to work on Pinterest? Well, we've talked to our Pinterest partner team, and they say, no, pins from Tailwind are treated the same as pins from anywhere else. It makes no difference. But we wanted to know ourselves, because we've heard this from you. So we looked at all pins that went out July through January, and then we looked at January alone, because we thought, well, what if maybe something changed between July and January? What we found is that when we looked at those creates that are published through Tailwind and creates published on Pinterest, we did not see any difference in pin engagement. Now, when we're talking about engagement, we're talking about saves on pins. So we're not looking at impressions, but if you have no impressions, you're not going to get saves. Now, when we looked at saves, the saves published through Tailwind and saves published directly on Pinterest. So again, that second through infinity time that your pin goes out on Pinterest, we actually saw higher performance for the Tailwind saves than for those shared right on Pinterest. Now, if you're seeing this and you're like, I believe you, but not for me, please email us, help@tailwindapp.com. We can take a closer look. We can actually see what types of pins you're publishing and through what method, and see where you're getting the saves. Is it more through Tailwind? Is it more through Pinterest? Is it even? What is happening on your specific account? We can do that for you. We're happy to do that for you. And just to emphasize, we hear you. Like, we're hearing this from a lot of people. And with all social media or all platforms like this, it starts out, everything's roses and wonderful and easy, and we love it. We get this free traffic. And as the platforms get smarter and things change, it becomes harder, right? It always does. But there is still a great opportunity. Now, just because Pinterest and everybody else wants you to have more fresh content, more exciting content, video, stories, all these rich content forms, which can take more time to create than we have, that doesn't mean that all of a sudden you have an extra 10 hours in your week to do this, or an extra couple of $1,000s to spend getting some help to do this. So where can we help? We can help by saving time for you when you're scheduling your pins, saving time on image creation with Tailwind Create. So some of the ways you can use Tailwind Create, and we'll show you a little preview of it in a minute. You can make video cover images in seconds. You can craft those still panels in your story pins very quickly. You can use pin images as Facebook story images. You can also refresh your ad creative very quickly. We hear you about story pin scheduling. If you're creating a lot of story pins, that's amazing, and maybe you want to schedule them. That is on our radar. And now, if you look at your Tailwind for Instagram account, you are going to see something a little bit different. So you are going to see that you'll be able to create images for Pinterest, Instagram, and Facebook. Talk about time saver. Now, if you're not using Instagram at all because you feel like I don't know what to post, I like too much going on, Tailwind for Instagram has this amazing Instagram planner, which helps you figure out what you want to post on which days and gives you even prompts that you can kind of fill in the blanks just to get the juices flowing, get your ideas going. Because you have them, it's just sometimes hard to get to them when you're busy. We have Smart Schedule that helps you to post at the times when most people are likely to be on and engaged. We have Hashtag Finder to help you build your following on Instagram, along with Smart Bio that lets you turn your Instagram posts into a link in your bio as you're posting them on to Instagram, and a lot more to come. We know there's a lot more to be done. This is kind of a preview here of Tailwind Create, where you're able to make Instagram feed posts and stories, Facebook feed posts, and Pinterest pins all at once, and then add them to your queue or download them. Okay, so we can make images in Tailwind now, and yeah, they're so quick. 1.8 minutes is the average time people spend in there making their images. And that compares to 15 minutes per pin design with other platforms. We asked. If I could make a Tailwind Create for house cleaning, your 2 hours of house cleaning would be done in 14.4 minutes, and I would be signing up yesterday. And what's more, they work. So we looked at what is the result when you share a new pin with Tailwind Create versus sending out that old pin that already existed. Well, we saw 373% more saves compared to resharing existing content. They work. And as you can see here, we are using Tailwind Create for our own images. So we have professional designers and they are amazing. They make images for all of our blog posts and our assets. But when we use Tailwind Create, something different happens. We get all kinds of engagement and clicks. Maybe just it's a different style. We know people want something new and exciting on Pinterest. So for whatever reason, it's working really great. Highly suggest that you give it a try too. How else can we help? Please respond to this message, reply to this video. Let us know how else we can help make your marketing easier. Thanks for joining me today, and remember, even though things change, things always change, there's still a tremendous amount of opportunity for your business on Pinterest.